Hello, everybody. This is Anna Karenina by Leo Tolstoy. Part 5, Chapter 31. Although Anna had tried to be prepared beforehand, she didn't realize how violently she'd be moved at the sight of her son. When she got back to the hotel again, she could not, for a long time, understand why she was there. Yes, all is over. I'm alone again, she said to herself, and without taking off her hat, she threw herself into an easy chair near the fireplace. And fixing her eyes on the bronze clock standing on a bracket between two windows, she became absorbed in thought. The French maid, whom she had brought from abroad with her, came in to get her orders. Anna looked at her with surprise and replied, "By and by." A servant came to announce breakfast. "By and by," she said once more. The Italian nurse came in, bringing the child whom she had just dressed. The little one smiled when she saw her mother and beat the air with her little plump hands, like a fish waving its fins. She pulled at the starched tucks of her embroidered skirt and reached out her arms to Anna, who couldn't resist her. She couldn't help kissing her little daughter's fresh cheeks and pretty shoulders, and letting her catch hold of one of her fingers, screaming with delight and jumping. She couldn't help taking her in her arms and trotting her on her knee. But the sight of this child made her feel clearly that the affection which she felt for it was not the same kind of love that she had for Seroja. Everything about this little girl was lovely, but she didn't fill the wants of her heart. All the strength of her affection had heretofore centered in the firstborn, although he was the child of a man whom she didn't love. Her daughter was born under the saddest circumstances, had never received the 100th part of the care which she had spent on Seroja. Moreover, the little girl only represented hopes, while Seroja was almost a man, and a lovely man. He had already begun to struggle with his thoughts and feelings. He loved his mother, understood her, judged her, perhaps, she thought, recalling her son's words, and now she was separated from him, morally as well as materially, and she saw no way of remedying the situation. After she had given the little one back to her nurse and sent them away, Anna opened a locket containing Seroja's picture at the same age as his sister. Then taking off her hat, she looked in an album for other pictures of him taken at different periods. She wanted to compare them, and she took them all out of the album. One was left, the last, the best photograph of him. It represented Seroja astride a chair, in a white frock, a smile on his lips and a shadow in his eyes. It was a perfect likeness of his best expression. Holding the album in her little deft hands, which today moved with extraordinary effort, she tried with her slender white fingers to take it from its place, but the photograph stuck, and she couldn't get at it. There was no paper cutter on the table, and she took up another photograph at random to push out the card from its place. It was a picture of Vronsky, taken in Rome, with long hair and a round felt hat. "Da, there he is," she said to herself, and she looked at him. She suddenly remembered that he was the cause of all her present suffering. Not once had she thought of him all the morning, but the sight of this manly and noble face, which she knew and loved so well, brought a flood of affection to her heart. "Where is he? Why does he leave me alone, a prey to my grief?" she asked with bitterness, forgetting that she herself carefully concealed from him everything concerning her son. She sent a message to him, asking him to come to her immediately, and waited, with heavy heart, for the tender words with which she would try to console her. The servant returned to say that Vronsky had a visitor, but that he would come very soon. Could she receive him with Prince Yashvin, who had just arrived in Petersburg? "He'll not come alone, and he's not seen me since yesterday at dinner," she thought. "And he doesn't come so that I can speak with him, but he comes with Yashvin." And a cruel thought crossed her mind. If he no longer loves me? She went over in her mind all the incidents of the past few days. She found her terrible thought confirmed by them. The day before, he hadn't dined with her, and they didn't have the same room now that they were in Petersburg, and now he was bringing someone with them as if to avoid being alone with her. "But he must tell me this. I must know it. If it's true, I know what I must do," she said, quite beside herself from imagining what would happen if Vronsky's indifference should prove to be true. She began to feel that he didn't love her any more. She imagined herself reduced to despair, and her feelings made her overexcited. She rang for their maid, went into her dressing room, and took extreme pains with her dress, as though the sight of her toilet and way of dressing her hair would bring back Vronsky's love if he had grown indifferent. The bell rung before she was ready. When she returned to the drawing-room, she saw not Vronsky, but Yashvin, looking at Seroja's pictures, which she left on the table. "We're old acquaintances," she said to him, going towards him and placing her small hand in Yashvin's enormous hand. He was all confusion, and this seemed odd, contrasted with his giant form and decided features. "We met last year at the races. Give them to me," she said, snatching her son's photographs from Vronsky, who was looking at them, while her eyes blazed at him significantly. "Were the races successful this year? We saw the races at Rome on the Corso. But I believe you do not like life abroad," she added with a fascinating smile. "I know you, and although we seldom meet, I know your tastes. I'm very sorry for that, because my tastes are generally bad," said Yashvin, biting his left side of his mustache. After they had talked some little time, Yashvin, seeing Vronsky look at his watch, asked Anna if she expected to be in Petersburg long. Then, stooping with his huge back, he picked up his kepi. "Probably not long," she replied in some confusion, and looked at Vronsky. "Then we shall not meet again," said Yashvin, turning towards Vronsky. "Where are you going to dine?" "Come and dine with me," said Anna with decision, and vexed because she could not conceal her confusion whenever her false situation became evident before a stranger. She blushed. "The table here is not good, but you will at least see each other. Of all Alexei's messmates, you're his favorite." "Oh, I should be delighted," replied Yashvin with a smile, which proved to Vronsky that he was very much pleased with Anna. Yashvin took leave of them and went away, while Vronsky lingered behind. "Are you going too?" she asked him. "Oh, I'm already late." "Go ahead, I'll overtake you," he shouted to Yashvin. She took his hand, and without taking her eyes off of him, tried to find something to say to detain him. "Wait, I want to ask you something." And she pressed Vronsky's hand against her cheek. "Da, did I do wrong to invite him to dinner?" "Oh, you did quite right," he replied with a calm smile. "Alexei, do you feel changed towards me?" she asked, pressing his hand into her own. "Alexei, I'm tired of staying here. When will we go away?" "Soon, very soon. You can't imagine how our life here weighs upon me too." And he drew away his hand. "Oh, go away," she said in an injured tone, and quickly left him.